Good Thursday morning, Patriots. Welcome back to O'Connor's Right Stand. I'm your host, John O'Connor, software programmer by day, conservative truth seeker by night. Today, let's finally talk about what's happening in New York City. Election day is 12 days away, and America's largest city is about to elect a 33-year-old socialist who refuses to say Israel has a right to exist as a Jewish state. And here's the kicker. The biggest obstacle to stopping him isn't the Democratic Party. It isn't the Republicans. It isn't the leftist media. It's Andrew Cuomo. That's right, the disgraced former governor forced to resign in 2021 amid sexual harassment allegations and a nursing home death scandal that's killed 15,000 elderly New Yorkers. This guy thinks he deserves a political comeback. And his narcissistic crusade is about to hand New York City to a radical who questions Israel's right to exist. The Right Stand starts now. Let's start with the villain. Zohran Mamdani is a Democratic Socialist assemblyman from Queens who shocked everyone by winning the Democratic primary in June, beating Cuomo by 12 percentage points. Mamdani is a member of the Democratic Socialist of America, the same organization widely condemned for defending the October 7th Hamas attacks. His platform is straight socialist economics. Freeze rents on stabilized apartments, free buses for all riders, and universal child care funded by a 2% wealth tax on anyone earning over $1 million. Patriots, when you tax success, successful people leave. They move to Florida, Texas, or Tennessee, anywhere that doesn't punish wealth creation. And when they leave, they take their businesses, jobs, and tax revenue with them. But the economic policies aren't even the most alarming part. Mamdani has repeatedly called Israel's actions in Gaza genocide. The American Jewish Committee and BB International have expressed alarm. When asked directly if Israel has the right to exist as a Jewish state, Mamdani refused to say yes. His answer, "I would not recognize any state's right to exist with a system of hierarchy on the basis of religion." In a city with 1.3 million Jews, the largest Jewish population outside Israel, this should be disqualifying. Mamdani supports the BDS movement against Israel. He's defended the phrase globalize the intifada, which Jewish leaders call an explicit call for violence. He attended pro-Palestinian protests immediately after October 7th. While he called the attack a war crime, when Fox News pressed him to condemn Hamas as a terrorist organization, he refused. Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said Mamdani's rhetoric amounts to explicit incitement to violence. Congressman Dan Goldman stated flatly that Mamdani is unfit to lead a city with 1.3 million Jews. Recent polling shows 47% of likely voters believe Mamdani doesn't have the right experience to be mayor. But he's winning because the opposition vote is split three ways. In a normal world, stopping Mamdani would unite everyone who opposes socialism. Every poll shows Mamdani under 50%. A majority of New Yorkers don't want him in. But that majority is divided, and the person dividing it is Andrew Cuomo. After losing the primary 56% to 44%, Cuomo stayed in the race as an independent. He created his own party called Fight and Delivered just to stay on the ballot. Let me remind everyone who Andrew Cuomo is. In August 2021, New York Attorney General Letitia James released a report finding Cuomo sexually harassed at least 11 women who worked for him. The Justice Department later confirmed 13 female staffers. The allegations included unwanted kissing, groping, inappropriate sexual comments, and asking women invasive questions about their sex lives. One aide said Cuomo suggested they play strip poker on a government plane. Another said he asked her about sex with older men. She was 25. He was 63. Even President Biden, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi called for his resignation. He had no choice but to step down. But here's what might be worse: the nursing home deaths. During COVID, Cuomo issued a directive forcing nursing homes to accept COVID-positive patients. His administration initially reported 6,400 nursing home deaths. The real number was over 15,000. His administration undercounted deaths by 50% to hide the consequences of his disastrous policy. When Congress called Cuomo to testify, he lied about his role in a report that whitewashed these deaths. This year, he finally admitted he may have altered that report himself. Patriots, 15,000 grandmothers and grandfathers died because of Cuomo's policy. Then he covered it up. Then he lied to Congress. And now he deserves to be mayor? His presence in this race is ensuring a socialist wins. So, how did we get here? Well, it's simple. The anti-Mamdani vote is split two ways. The polls show it clearly, and one person is refusing to budge, and it's not who you'd expect. Curtis Sliwa deserves credit for refusing to cave. The 71-year-old founder of the Guardian Angels has been fighting for New York since 1979, when he created volunteer patrols to protect subway riders from the crime wave destroying the city. Sliwa is running on public safety and law and order. He is the Republican nominee, and he's made it clear he's not dropping out. The pressure has been immense. Cuomo even offered him a job to quit. The New York Post called for him to step aside. Even some Trump allies suggested he should exit. Sliwa's response? Absolutely no way, under no circumstance. You can't bribe me, you can't lease me, and you can't rent me. The 5 Republican county chairs have stood by him. Republicans should not have to clean up the mess Andrew Cuomo and the Democrats created, and we will not allow the political class to hijack our ballot line. Well, that's principle, patriots. Sliwa has also pointed out that when Trump attacks Mamdani directly, it helps the socialists run against Trump instead of defending his own positions. Trump won only 30% in New York City. Trump's support should flow to Sliwa, the actual Republican, not to a disgraced Democrat running as an independent. Let's talk numbers, because this is where Cuomo's selfishness becomes crystal clear. The latest Quinnipiac poll from October 9th shows Mamdani at 46%, Cuomo at 33%, and Sliwa at 15%. Mamdani is winning, but he's not at 50%. That means a majority of New Yorkers don't want him as mayor, but that majority is divided 3 ways. Here's what makes that even more frustrating. An AARP and Gotham poll tested what would happen if the race were just 2 candidates. If Sliwa dropped out, Mamdani's lead over Cuomo shrinks to just 4%, within the margin of error. Suddenly, it's competitive. But here's what nobody's talking about. The same math actually works in reverse. So if Cuomo dropped out, his 33% of voters, moderate Democrats and independents who don't want socialism, would have somewhere to go. Many would unite behind Sliwa. That's the path to actually stopping Mamdani. So what's Cuomo's response? Well, he spent October pressuring Sliwa to quit. He's offered him jobs. He's gone on radio shows saying a vote for Curtis Sliwa is really a vote for Mamdani. But that's just projection. A vote for Cuomo is what ensures Mamdani wins, because Cuomo has no realistic path to 50% and refuses to clear the lane. If Mamdani wins on November 4th, here's what happens. Tax increases drive out successful people. That 2% wealth tax at $1 million incomes means doctors, lawyers, business owners, and executives leave for Florida or maybe Texas. Their tax revenues and jobs disappear. Rent freezes collapse the real estate market. No developer builds without returns. The housing shortage worsens. Crime skyrockets. Progressive prosecutors won't prosecute. Bail reform frees violent criminals. We've seen this in San Francisco, Portland, Seattle. The migrant crisis explodes. Mamdani pledged over $100 million for immigration legal services while fighting Trump's enforcement. New York already spends billions on illegal immigrants while veterans sleep on the streets. Most concerning, What happens to the Jewish community? Mamdani won't visit Israel. He'll surround himself with DSA activists who celebrated October 7th. Anti-Semitic attacks rise while their mayor refuses to stand with Israel. This matters nationally. If a socialist who questions Israel's right to exist wins America's largest city, it emboldens every socialist activist. They'll recruit Mamdani-style candidates everywhere. The Democratic Party accelerates towards full socialism. Let's talk President Trump. President Trump has been watching this race very closely. He dropped the federal corruption charges against Mayor Eric Adams shortly after taking office, and Adams subsequently dropped out of the race in late September. Many observers believe Trump encouraged Adams to exit to consolidate opposition to Mamdani. Trump has been very vocal about Mamdani. He's called him terrible and bad news. He's threatened to withhold federal funds from New York if the socialist wins. He's even floated the idea of placing New York City under federal control. But here's where the strategy gets muddled. Trump's attacks on Mamdani, while justified, actually helped the socialist in deep blue New York City. Mamdani can run against Trump instead of defending his own radical positions. And Trump won only 30% in New York City, making him an unpopular foil. More importantly, Trump's support should be going to Curtis Sliwa, the actual Republican nominee. Instead, some Trump allies have been pressuring Sliwa to drop out and back Cuomo. That makes no sense. Cuomo is a lifelong Democrat. He was running in the Democratic primary 4 months ago. He's not a conservative, not a Republican, and certainly not someone who deserves Republican support over the actual GOP nominee. If Trump wants to stop Mamdani, the clear play is endorsing Sliwa and publicly calling for Cuomo to step aside for the Republican. Let me make this argument crystal clear, because apparently it needs to be said. Andrew Cuomo lost. He lost the Democratic primary by 12 points. He was the establishment favorite with endorsements from Mike Bloomberg, Bill Clinton, and every major power broker in New York City. He had unlimited money and the name recognition, and he lost badly. He's now running as an independent only because he refuses to accept defeat. He created a vanity political party called Fight and Deliver, just to stay on the ballot. He's polling at 33% with no path to majority support. Curtis Sliwa, on the other hand, won his primary. He's the legitimate Republican nominee. He's been fighting for New York City since 1979. He has every right to be in this race and every reason to stay in it. The pressure is on the wrong person. The calls for Sliwa to drop out are backwards. Cuomo is the interloper here. He's the Democrat who's lost, who's now preventing Republicans and moderates from uniting behind the actual Republican candidate. If Cuomo actually believes his own rhetoric, if he truly thinks Mamdani is an existential threat to New York City, then he needs to prove it by dropping out and endorsing Sliwa. Otherwise, all of his dire warnings about socialism are just empty words designed to prop up his own failed comeback. Governor Cuomo, hear this directly. You resigned in disgrace. 13 women accused you of harassment. You oversaw 15,000 nursing home deaths and covered it up. You lied to Congress. You lost the Democratic primary by 12 points. You're polling at 33% with no path to 50%. But you can determine who wins. Your presence ensures a socialist who questions Israel's right to exist becomes mayor of the city with the largest Jewish population in America. If you have any integrity, drop out and endorse Curtis Sliwa. Do it before it's too late. History is watching. Right now, you're on track to be remembered as the man whose ego handed New York to the socialists. With 12 days until Election Day, Andrew Cuomo must drop out immediately. Every day he stays in makes Mamdani's path easier. Republican voters must unite behind Sliwa. He's fought for New York for 45 years. He's the Republican. He deserves every conservative vote. Moderate Democrats and independents need reality. Voting for Cuomo throws away your vote. The only path to stopping the socialist is unified opposition behind Sliwa. Patriots, this is a preventable disaster. Zohran Mamdani should not be mayor. His socialist economics would destroy prosperity. His stance on Israel endangers Jewish New Yorkers. His vision is a nightmare of high taxes, rising crime, and business exodus. Curtis Sliwa is fighting with everything he has. But mathematics don't lie. He cannot overcome the three-way split. Cuomo pulling 33% and Sliwa pulling 15%, while Mamdani wins with 46%, is not democracy. It's math-enabling disaster. Early voting starts tomorrow, Friday, October 25th. Election day is Tuesday, November 4th. New Yorkers still have time to make the right choice. If you're a New Yorker listening, vote for Curtis Sliwa. Tell everyone you know. These final 12 days matter. And if you know anyone connected to Cuomo, tell him it's time. His last act in New York politics can be saving the city from socialism, or handing it over through selfishness. The choice is his. The consequences are ours. Well, that wraps up this episode of O'Connor's Right Stand. If you get a moment, jump over to o'connorsrightstand.com or send me a message on X at O'Connor Podcasts. Stay vigilant, Patriots. Have a great weekend, and I will see you Tuesday for another deep dive. This is John O'Connor, signing off.